and then automatically it goes live.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well,
So I guess we're live.
P. Diddy, y'all, was in court again today.
Yep. What's on deck for tonight's show is we're going to discuss P. Diddy's court date today, what happened with that. Also, we'll talk about Travis Decker, d4vd and developments as of today. Also, we'll be talking about a case that is currently in court this week. It happened back in 2022, and the guy's finally facing a judge this week. And the name of Isabel. So we'll be talking about that too. The case took place in
Dark story, guys.
Yeah. So we'll start with Travis Decker.
Rainbow.
Hey, Rainbow.
You're the first comment. Good job.
Okay, so today the DNA came back on those remains that were found in Washington, and they are those of Travis Decker. Travis Decker is the guy who was missing after taking his 3 daughters for an afternoon visit, court-ordered visit, and when the kids weren't returned, it turned out that they were found deceased in a campground, that all 3 little girls had had plastic bags placed on their heads and tie wraps on their hand, around their wrists, and they were all suffocated to death with no sign of their dad. It was thought that he may have escaped the country. Wow, the dream catcher's right in my face. I'll move it over a little bit towards Jack so that maybe it's not in my face so much. Oh well, so I'll just have a.
Let's just.
No, I just didn't know if it
move
was
it out of the way.
I didn't know if
for
it was
the
gonna.
minute here,
I didn't.
guys.
I don't know if it was gonna bug people or not.
It probably might.
But anyway,
Sorry.
So there was a manhunt. It went on for quite some time. People thought that Travis Decker may have fled the country, but drones were used, and through the thick brush, the drones spotted a shirt that was consistent with Travis Decker's shirt that he was wearing when last seen. So law enforcement went out there and discovered some badly decomposed remains, kind of scattered a bit, not all intact, and not enough that they could visually identify who it was, but it was wearing a shirt consistent with Travis Decker's shirt, was wearing Army Ranger shorts consistent with his shorts, and a tin of chewing tobacco consistent with his brand. And so they sent the material off to get it tested, and the testing came back, and the remains are those of Travis Decker. So anyone who may have been on his poo list can rest easy tonight knowing that he's not going to be able to come after them. But it's going to take some time, perhaps months, before we know the timeline and cause of his death. There's a lot more testing that needs to be done in the case of Travis Decker.
So justice has been served
Yeah.
for dear old Travis.
In the form of karma or
Will
whatever.
not be wasting any money on him.
Yes. So that's Travis Decker. Now we'll pop over to Diddy, since that's not that long of a thing. Diddy,
P.
Puff
Diddy,
Daddy,
Puffy.
P. Diddy, Puffy, the man whose name has become a verb. Don't Diddy me.
Don't you dare Diddy me. Okay.
I don't want to be Diddied. Oh, that person over there, they got Diddied. Anyhow, I feel bad for them. Anyhow, Diddy was in court today with his legal team. They were trying to have his 2 convictions thrown out. He had a whole buttload of charges, including racketeering and stuff, that all got dropped. And the only 2 that he got convicted of were 2 charges of transportation for the purposes of prostitution. His lawyers tried to argue that it wasn't an accurate, I don't know, charge or whatever. And they also were asking that if these charges weren't thrown out, that they wanted to have a new trial. And also, if they were not thrown out and they weren't granted a new trial, they want him to be sentenced to 14 months because he's already served 14 months, and that would allow him to be released immediately. Anyhow, the judge...
Well, they said that he wasn't paid any money.
Yeah, they say he wasn't paid any money, but that doesn't exactly matter in what... in the charges and stuff. That I haven't completely read all the legalese on what the charges mean. But anyway, they also submitted a 182-page memo. Can you imagine that? A memo that was 182 pages long. That's even longer. Well, no, maybe it's not longer than Barry's long-winded attorneys in the first go-round. Anyhow,
Attorneys like to read and write.
An 180 pound, that'd be crazy, 180 pound memo. 180 page memo regarding sentencing, where they were just talking about all this different stuff about why he should be sentenced to time served, and saying that they don't want the charges or anything that were thrown out about him to be used during the sentencing by the prosecution. But at the same time, they went and mentioned all those charges, saying that that's a reason why he should have a lower sentences, because he was found not guilty of those charges. Anyhow, it appears that at the maximum he could get 20 years, but that's unlikely, because that'd be like 10 years for each charge, and that's 2 charges. But, sentencing could be anything from time served up to that. And I think it's probably going to be more on the lenient end. And I'm guessing that it's not going to be thrown out because the judge, the judge said that they would think on it and, get back to them. They also told Diddy and his attorneys that they'd see them on October 3rd, and October 3rd is the date of the scheduled sentencing. So probably just going to be sentenced to something that day. And another thing that I learned that I hadn't known was that the lead prosecutor in Diddy's case is no longer on the case, has been fired through addendum 2 or something like that, but it appears to be a presidential order, but I don't know if it was actually signed by the president or if it's authorized by somebody on behalf of the president.
The Trump administration was definitely involved in that.
But anyway, she was fired, and then it turns out that she's the daughter of the FBI guy, James Comey, who also has been fired and is in all kinds of trouble. And unclear whether her firing is related to her dad's firing, or if her firing is more due to the fact that not only is she the prosecutor in the Diddy case, and she didn't manage to get those bigger convictions, so, that kind of looks bad for a prosecutor when they bring all these huge charges and then they don't stick. But also, she was the lead prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein trial, and also in the trial against Ghislaine, or however you say her name, Maxwell, the side piece with power.
All those pieces, they come together.
So
they do.
That's all very interesting, and I would love to see any
You guys
comments
think about
that.
You get some likes up
So
in
let me
here. That'd be
X
nice.
those off. We talked about Travis Decker, and we talked about
Hi,
Diddy.
Jennifer. I see
Oh.
you in there.
I'll save Brandon Isabel for last, because he's perhaps the nastiest, most heinous, and I got the quite a bit of information on that to try to get everybody caught up on that. Now for d4vd, David. Developing today is that LAPD has verified that the death of Celeste is a homicide. Now, whether David is, on the hook for that or not, remains to be seen. They haven't said anything about that, but they have admitted that they are looking into David for the improper relationship with Celeste, who was 13 at 13 and 14 when he was in a relationship with her. And this information comes out the day after David's, or later the same day, I forget if it was yesterday or today, but anyway, David's neighbor has come forward saying that they knew Celeste and knew David and Celeste to be a couple, but did not realize that she was a child. And also, friends of David have come forward stating, friends, entourage of David have come forward stating that yes, David and Celeste were a couple. They knew them as a couple. They hung out with them as a couple. But they swear they had no idea that Celeste was underage. They swear they thought that she was a college student at the University of Southern. Wait, I don't know which university they thought she went to, but either. I don't remember. But they thought she was a college student. It appears she may have had some fake ID.
She was in the clubs.
Because she went to the clubs with David, and they saw them at the clubs together. But also, David is underage, so...
What was he? He was in...
He's only 20. So he shouldn't have been in the clubs that have the 21 age limit anyway, so...
Don't expect to get any video footage from the clubs as they're quickly deleting that.
Yeah, oops, we got these underage. Nope. Money being thrown, I think. Anyhow, LAPD confirmed that they've been investigating the relationship between David and Celeste, and Chief Jim McDonnell stated, whenever you investigate a homicide, the detectives look at all the associated issues as well. In this case, that's something that they would be looking at when they were asked whether they were looking at the relationship between David and Celeste, the inappropriate relationship. And
David, you're in some big trouble.
And also, it was revealed that in an interview with major news media on the day that Celeste's remains were found in the Tesla, before they were ever identified or before they even knew that it was a child, the police on scene informed the reporters on scene that the remains were wrapped in something special.
Oh, yeah.
And then wrapped in the black plastic wrap. So there is some sort of evidence that was wrapped around Celeste's remains that would perhaps identify her assailant.
Could be a personal sheet from the set that he has.
Yeah. A special blanket, whatever it is, it's something that is going to be big evidence in this case. And as I said, it is a homicide. So it'll be a while gathering all the information, all the evidence and such. And it'll be interesting to find out just who all are involved and in what... I threw my pen. And in what way they're involved in this, because, David is a musician, has the entourage. The place was rented by the manager of the house, where they were staying, and then there's all the different venues that the two attended together as a couple, and these had age limits on them, and this couple is there, and I'm not sure if the age limit is like it's an 18 and over club, or if it's a 21 and over club. If it's 21 and over club, they were letting David in, and he's not 21, he's 20, but they were letting Celeste in, and she was 13 and 14 years old at the times. And
There's gonna be some more photos coming out, I think.
and then some people were talking about how, well, maybe she looked different. I mean, because they're saying she actually does look like a child. She's a child that looks like a child. And they're saying, well, maybe with lots of heavy makeup and in a dark club and all that, maybe people didn't know that she was underage. And then that reminded me of a creepy show from back when I was a kid. My babysitter watched it, and I watched it with my babysitter. And my babysitter was all like, oh, that's so cool. But anyway, it was called Sooner or Later. And I guess it was in the late 70s, early 80s that it came out. And it starred some really pretty guy. I think his name was Rex Smith or something like that. In any way, it was like this junior high girl had gone and got her makeup done and went for guitar lessons. You know, she got a free makeover at the mall or something like that, and then started guitar lessons. And the guitar lesson guy was, you know, this Rex Smith guy was the actor, and obviously he's supposed to be like over 18, and she's like junior high or something, and it's supposed to be a love story. And I don't really remember all that much about it because I wasn't that interested, because like I said, my babysitter was watching it. But I just remember that it exists, and just thinking, you know, how long has there been this like fantasy, or this in the entertainment industry, where it's okay for underage people to be with adults. And then I also remember, you know, when I was researching the Charlie Manson and all that stuff, in the Helter Skelter, etc., reading about Roman Polanski and how he had gotten in trouble and left the country at some point because of having a relationship in a hot tub with an underage girl. And I'm just like, you know, how long has this been like normal amongst celebrity types? And
What about that actor with the glasses?
and just creeped out by it.
That Woody guy.
Oh, and Woody Harrelson is, I mean, not Woody Harrelson.
Not Woody Harrelson. Don't
Not
give
Woody
him
Harrelson.
any-
Sorry. Woody Harrelson is cool. Love him as Hamish in the Hunger Games. And he's a great family
Woody
guy.
Allen, yeah.
He's Woody Allen. That's the name we're looking for. Woody Allen. And how he got together with Mia Farrow, who was his like common law wife or whatever at the time. He got together with her adopted daughter, who had been like 10 years old when he had gotten together with Mia. So like raised her as a daughter, and then she becomes his wife.
How old was she when she became his wife, dude?
Well, I guess they got married after she was an adult, but I'm not sure when the relationship began. Maybe people in the comments can let us know about that, because I just remember that was creepy.
That was all over the news
For a while, it was like in
before the day of internet.
Yeah, it was back when we were reading about it in People magazine. So a while back.
We can talk about Suzanne Morphew. Oh, yes. Poor Suzanne got together with that Barry guy.
Yeah, we can cover some of that.
Yeah, and we're definitely following it, and we're hoping people will let us know if they see Barry anywhere, or if anybody gets any photos of him as he's out on bail. And definitely, we're going to be covering his next court appearance, where they'll be discussing the progress and, you know, perhaps set a trial date. And then when the trial happens, we are definitely going to go to Alamosa County for the duration of the trial.
Bear. Well, just because we call him Old Bear, he's not to be trifled with. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Take a drink.
I'm all dried out.
Okay. So how's everybody today? This message has been held for review. I wonder who said what.
Oh yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis married his 14-year-old cousin back in the day. I remember that. That's that Great Balls of Fire guy.
Jerry Lee.
And I saw a movie about it.
And again, back in the day before internet existed.
Elvis too. Priscilla Presley was like 14, and he was an army guy, maybe 21 years old, when he fell in love with her, and I think she was 16 when she went to go live with him in America prior to them getting married. Um, so yeah, some crazy stuff.
We can see your messages. YouTube holds them if they deem them inappropriate for some reason.
Anyway, now we'll get into the case of Brandon Isabel.
This is going to be a nasty story.
And this is a nasty one. Trigger warnings galore. And so we went and researched it, and it is horrific.
By request.
And today was Brandon Isabel's third day in court. Brandon Isabel is on trial for the murders of Danielle Hoyle, his girlfriend at the time, or ex-girlfriend at the time, and their newborn baby, Kennedy, who is only 2 days old. And there is camera footage out of the interviews with Brandon when he was in the interview room with the cops, and he admitted that he shot Danielle, and this is before the cops had released the information that she had been shot, and he's like, I shot her. But then he said that he had left the baby in her car seat on a boat ramp at Mud Island, and so they scrambled over there to look, and they've never found the baby. They found her little hat on the riverbank, and now I'll get into more of what happened in that case. Okay, so Brandon and Danielle and another woman, it was a love triangle. We just love those, don't we? And her name is Artesia Stewart. And the three of them all worked at FedEx, and Brandon was hooking up with them both, and Danielle got pregnant, and Artesia was Brandon's favorite. He wanted to hold on to her he wanted to hold on to her. He didn't care what happened with Danielle, but then Danielle was pregnant, and Artesia did not want to be saddled with someone else's baby, and she didn't want to be dealing with any baby mama in the relationship. So she was willing to break up with Brandon, and they were having on and off fights and discussions, and Brandon wanted nothing more than to please Artesia. He wanted her in his life, and even so much that he was texting her and begging him not to leave her when he was at the hospital while Danielle was in labor, giving birth to their child. And then Artesia bought him a DNA test so that he could get a DNA test of the baby. Meanwhile, Brandon had other ideas of how he was going to keep Artesia in his life. Brandon, when the baby was 2 days old and Danielle had gotten home from the hospital, and she was able to spend an hour at home with her mom, showing the new baby and and taking the pictures, the cute photo ops of this brand new baby in her cute little outfit with her little hat.
Tears.
And then Danielle gets a call from Brandon saying that he wants to meet up because he's had a change of heart or whatever, and he has gotten gifts for the baby, and he's got clothes for the baby and stuff. So Danielle tells her mom, okay, we're gonna go see baby daddy. He's got stuff for the baby. And so she leaves the house, and mom never sees her again. What does happen is that through phone records and GPS and everything, by the way, he didn't turn off his phone or anything like that, didn't play any of the games that Barry did. His whole GPS told the whole story. Will you come back on the camera with me? He's a
I was over there drinking.
yeah. Plus he's also choked up about this. You know,
Oh, it's horrible. You just wait. You may end up shedding some tears. This is really, really.
so then Brandon gets in touch with Danielle and says that rather than meeting at Matco where he originally had said, he wanted her to meet him at the end of this street in a secluded area where there actually weren't any security cameras or anything. And she, you know, excited about the prospect of her baby's father wanting to see them and wanting to give them gifts and stuff, she went there. She believed him. And she went and she parked her car on this secluded street. And, you know, she's a young adult. I don't remember her exact age. They were all working at FedEx together, like I said. And anyway, Brandon walks up to the passenger side of the car and fires 5 shots into the car, shattering the window, you know, putting a bullet hole in the door of the car, but hits Danielle in the head and in the neck. And then he pulls her out of the car, bleeding, and drags her away from the car to the ditch. And, you know, because it's raining and stuff too at the time. And he leaves her face down in the muddy ditch in the water. And then he goes back to the car and gets into the back seat, takes out the car seat and the baby, goes and puts them in his car. Then he drives to the home that he shares with his parents, leaves the baby in the car, goes into the house, changes his clothes. He was wearing slides, Adidas, I think, or
Adidas.
Nike or Adidas. I
The
don't
Adidas
remember.
with the stripes.
He was wearing slides, and they had gotten Danielle's blood on them, so he stuck them in the trunk of his car and changed. And then, you know, this whole time he is texting with Artesia, trying to get her to take him back, don't leave him, etc. And then with the baby in the back of the car, he drives over to see what did he do first. Yeah, he drove up and down the street next to the Mississippi River, and the whole time he was also on the phone with Artesia, and he's seen on video doing this, driving up and down by the river. So this is all seen on video. Everybody's got, you know, cams and stuff. So then he stops at the boat ramp and he takes the baby out of the car seat and he walks to the river's edge and he holds the baby up by one foot and he flings her into the river. Her little hat falls off her head and lands on the riverbank. And then he goes back and gets in his car and he drives over to Walgreens and buys gifts for Artesia. And while this is going on, a patrol officer has gone to the street where Danielle's car is sitting, and often cars get dumped there that have been stolen. So he runs the plates, finds out whose car it is, and sends another officer over to the house to say, you know, to find out if the car has been reported stolen. Meets Danielle's mother, who tells them, you know, Danielle has a newborn baby with her, just 2 days old, and that she had gone to see the baby daddy and had never returned.
Wow.
So then the officer at the car goes and takes a better look at the area and finds Danielle deceased, face down in the muddy water in the ditch, but no sign of the baby. He goes and looks in the car. There's no car seat or anything, but the baby's diaper bag with her name on it is in the back seat of the car. So now it's a missing baby case, and so they're doing their search, trying to find this and trying to find the baby daddy. Meanwhile, baby daddy is still